Jake Anderson had always considered himself a man of order. Between his job at the small architectural firm and the daily responsibilities of raising his twin daughters, Emma and Lily, his life revolved around schedules, routines, and the occasional chaos only children could create. Life had never been easy, but it had been steady. That is, until the day Rachel entered their world. Rachel Harper had responded to Jake's online babysitter ad without knowing the full picture. She had left the glittering skyscrapers and boardrooms of her father's empire behind for a temporary reprieve, craving normalcy, something no money could buy. To the outside world, she was just another responsible, kind-hearted young woman eager to earn some extra income. To Jake, she was the answer to his prayers, the kind of babysitter who not only managed schedules and snacks but somehow connected with his daughters in ways he had never imagined possible. From the first day, Rachel's presence seemed to transform the house. Emma and Lily, usually shy with strangers, gravitated toward her immediately. She remembered their favorite games, knew which bedtime stories could calm their tantrums, and somehow made broccoli taste less like punishment. Jake watched in quiet amazement, noting her patience and gentleness. Yet, beneath the surface, there was something enigmatic about her, a subtle air of refinement and confidence she tried, and failed, to conceal. It wasn't long before Rachel became more than just a babysitter. She began helping Jake organize the house, suggesting educational activities for the girls, and even offering advice on his own workload. Jake found himself sharing personal stories, family memories, and small fears with her, things he hadn't voiced to anyone in years. Rachel listened, genuinely interested, and often offered a perspective that left him both surprised and comforted. There was a connection forming, delicate yet undeniable, like a spark on the verge of flame. Despite the closeness, Rachel maintained a careful distance. She kept her past carefully hidden. Her father, Samuel Harper, was a titan in the business world, and her identity carried weight she could not risk revealing. If anyone knew she was the daughter of a CEO worth billions, everything would change. She would no longer be seen as herself, but as an extension of her father's influence, and Rachel wanted none of that. She had come to Jake's home, not just for a job, but to live, even briefly, in a world where she could choose who she was, just Rachel, not Rachel Harper. Weeks passed, and the bond between Rachel and Jake deepened. They celebrated small victories together, Emma successfully learning to tie her shoes, Lily finally reciting a poem she had struggled with, and Jake nailing a crucial client presentation with Rachel's calm encouragement. Nights were often filled with laughter echoing through the house, and Rachel even began preparing meals the girls loved without prompting, experimenting with recipes that combined her culinary skill with child-friendly creativity. Then came the storm. One Friday evening, Jake returned home early from work, hoping to surprise the girls with an impromptu movie night. Instead, he found the living room empty and Rachel pacing by the window, her phone pressed tightly to her ear. Her face was tense, unreadable, yet framed with an urgency Jake had never seen before. The sound of her conversation caught fragments. "No, I can't. I'm supposed to be. Jake, Emma, Lily." She hung up quickly when she noticed Jake, attempting to mask the worry with a faint smile. "Everything okay?" he asked, though his instincts screamed otherwise. "Yeah, just family matters," Rachel replied, her voice slightly shaky. Jake nodded but did not push. He had learned long ago that Rachel kept her personal life guarded, and she deserved that privacy. But deep down, a flicker of unease took root. That evening, while the girls slept, Rachel confessed the truth she had been hiding. Jake listened, stunned, as she revealed her real identity. She was Rachel Harper, daughter of the influential CEO Samuel Harper. Her father's empire spanned continents, controlling industries and businesses. Yet Rachel had sought a life far from that shadow, trying to prove her worth independent of wealth and power. She had chosen to babysit Jake's daughters to experience normalcy, a world governed by simplicity and genuine human connection rather than profit and influence. Jake felt a whirlwind of emotions: betrayal, disbelief, curiosity, and, unexpectedly, admiration. Rachel had lied, but not out of malice. rather to protect the fragile balance she had created in her life. Still, trust was fractured, and he didn't know if it could be repaired. Emma and Lily, meanwhile, remained blissfully unaware, holding on to the person they adored most, Rachel, their babysitter, the only adult who truly understood them. Over the following days, Jake wrestled with the revelation. At work, his thoughts drifted constantly to Rachel, wondering how someone so seemingly ordinary could carry such a hidden life. At home, he observed Rachel with a mix of fascination and caution. She remained the same caring, gentle figure to the girls, but now he noticed subtleties previously overlooked: the elegance in her posture, the measured precision in her movements, the quiet confidence that suggested a life of privilege beyond his comprehension. Rachel, too, struggled. She had hoped that revealing her secret would bring honesty to their relationship, yet the reaction she received was far more complicated than anticipated. Jake's cool distance stung, a reminder that the consequences of truth could not be easily softened. She loved the girls as if they were her own, and she cared for Jake in ways she had never expected. Yet the shadow of her father loomed over every interaction, threatening to pull her back into the world she had tried to escape. Then, one evening, Samuel Harper appeared at the door. He had discovered Rachel's whereabouts, tracking her life with the precision of a seasoned executive. The confrontation was immediate and tense. "Rachel, you belong with me," Samuel said firmly, his commanding presence filling the room. This charade ends now. You are wasting your life with a man who cannot provide what you deserve." Jake, standing protectively in front of the girls, felt a surge of anger. "Rachel doesn't belong to you. She makes her own choices, and if you think you can just swoop in and dictate her life, you're wrong." Samuel's piercing gaze met Jake's. "And you think you can protect her from the world, Jake? She is not yours to shield. I will not allow my daughter to throw away everything for a life you cannot offer." The room fell into tense silence. Rachel stepped forward, defiant and resolute. "I choose my life, Father. Not yours. Not your empire. Not anyone else's. I choose the life I want with people I love, people who care about me as I am, not as an extension of your wealth." Samuel's expression hardened. "This is not the end, Rachel. Remember that." And with that, he left, leaving a lingering tension that none of them could ignore. Rachel's declaration marked a turning point. Jake realized that the connection he felt with her was genuine, independent of her identity or family influence. Emma and Lily embraced her even more, sensing the courage and integrity Rachel exuded. The household regained warmth, laughter returning with renewed strength, but now layered with the complexity of their shared secrets and challenges. Jake and Rachel navigated the next months with care. They established boundaries, rebuilt trust, and forged a bond that went beyond attraction, one built on mutual respect, understanding, and the shared responsibility of raising the twins. Each day brought small victories, Rachel teaching the girls new skills, Jake watching as Rachel handled crisis moments with patience and poise, and all three creating memories filled with joy and love. The story of Rachel and Jake was far from over. The shadow of her father's influence remained, but they had learned that choices mattered more than inheritance, and while challenges awaited them, together, they had the strength to face anything. The following weeks tested every ounce of patience and resilience Jake and Rachel possessed. Samuel Harper, a man whose very name inspired both admiration and fear in boardrooms, had not taken his daughter's declaration lightly. Despite her firm stance, he orchestrated a subtle campaign to pull Rachel back into his world, a world of wealth, influence, and carefully curated appearances. It began with small things. Jake noticed an unusual number of missed calls on Rachel's phone, followed by cryptic texts that she quickly deleted when he asked. Her expressions, once calm and composed, occasionally flickered with tension. Rachel tried to shield him from the pressure, insisting it was nothing important, but Jake's instincts told him otherwise. One Saturday afternoon, the tension erupted. Jake had planned a family outing to the local park, a rare chance for all three to enjoy a carefree day. Rachel had prepared Emma and Lily's favorite snacks and packed an extra blanket, smiling as the girls chattered excitedly in the car. But as they approached the park, a black luxury SUV pulled up beside them. A sharp-featured man in a tailored suit stepped out, holding a briefcase. and called out Rachel's name. "Rachel Harper," the man said, voice smooth but commanding. "Your father requested that you return home immediately. There's a matter of great importance." Rachel's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Not now," she murmured, her eyes meeting Jake's. There was fear there, the kind that had nothing to do with him. Jake's protective instinct flared. "Who is he?" Jake asked, keeping his voice calm but firm. "Just someone from my father's company," Rachel replied, a tinge of unease coloring her tone. "He's here to persuade me. Or threaten me." Jake's jaw tightened. "Threaten you?" "Rachel, you don't have to deal with this alone. We'll handle it together." The man's expression hardened, but Rachel shook her head. "No, Jake. This is my fight. I have to prove that I can stand on my own. I'm not a child anymore." Despite her resolve, the encounter left a heavy shadow over the day. Emma and Lily sensed Rachel's tension and clung to her, asking innocent questions she could not answer. Jake watched silently, torn between admiration for her courage and frustration at the helplessness he felt. That night, they returned home in silence, the girls falling asleep with their tiny hands clutching Rachel's fingers. Over the following days, Samuel's interventions became more sophisticated. Invitations to high-profile events, subtle messages highlighting the advantages of wealth, and even veiled criticisms of Jake's capabilities began to seep into their lives. Rachel faced a daily dilemma: honor her father while preserving the life she had chosen, or sever ties completely and risk familial estrangement. Jake, meanwhile, found himself entangled in a new kind of battle. Protecting Rachel meant understanding not just her world, but the relentless influence her father wielded. He began researching Samuel Harper, learning about his business empire, the board members, the public image carefully constructed over decades. Each discovery fueled both awe and determination. Awe at the magnitude of the challenge, determination to safeguard the family they had built together. The tension reached a breaking point when Emma and Lily fell ill simultaneously. Rachel, exhausted from negotiating with her father's representatives over the phone, struggled to maintain her composure. Jake took the lead, managing medications, doctor visits, and comforting the girls through feverish nights. He observed Rachel's quiet panic from the sidelines, realizing how deeply she cared not just for him, but for the children who had come to see her as family. One night, as rain lashed against the windows and the girls slept in their shared room, Rachel confided in Jake. "I never imagined it would be like this," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I thought escaping my father's shadow would be simple. But the world he built follows me everywhere. I don't want to drag you into this, Jake. You and the girls deserve a normal life." Jake took her hands in his, holding them firmly. "Rachel, look at me. You're not alone. We chose this family, and families protect each other. I don't care about your father, your wealth, or the world he commands. I care about you, and Emma, and Lily. That's enough." Her eyes glistened with tears, a mix of relief and vulnerability. In that moment, a new layer of trust formed between them, deeper than any they had known before. They were not just partners in childcare, they were partners in life, in courage, and in defiance against forces that sought to pull them apart. The story did not soften with time. Instead, it grew more intricate, as Samuel Harper decided to test Rachel's resolve in the harshest way possible. He arranged a high-stakes gala, inviting global business leaders and press, expecting Rachel to attend and publicly acknowledge her status. He knew that Jake, with his modest income and lack of social standing, would feel inadequate, and that Rachel might succumb to familial duty under public scrutiny. Rachel informed Jake days in advance. "I have to go," she said. "I can't completely sever ties without explaining myself to the world. But I promise, I'll be back." Jake agreed reluctantly, but not without a warning. "Rachel, whatever happens there, don't let them manipulate you. I trust you to stay true to yourself. And remember, we're here. We'll always be here." The night of the gala, Rachel entered a world she had once known intimately but had tried to leave behind. Crystal chandeliers glimmered above a sea of tailored suits and elegant gowns. Journalists whispered, cameras clicked, and powerful figures greeted her with calculated warmth. For a moment, Rachel felt the familiar weight of expectation pressing down, the invisible chains of privilege she had worked so hard to escape. Yet she held her ground. Throughout the evening, she smiled politely, navigated conversations with grace, and refused offers to enter into arrangements or compromises she did not want. Jake, watching from the sidelines via live updates, felt a swell of pride. She was unyielding, yet graceful, every bit the woman he had fallen for. Meanwhile, at home, the twins faced their own challenges. Emma had taken to calling Rachel Mommy Rachel when she was worried, and Lily began drawing pictures of their small family, labeling each member with love and care. Jake realized that the bond they shared was not dependent on legality or titles. It was built on love, trust, and presence. He marveled at the way children could sense the authenticity of people's hearts, untainted by social status or wealth. Rachel returned from the gala that night, exhausted but triumphant. She hugged Jake and the girls tightly, a mixture of relief and defiance shining in her eyes. "I did it," she whispered. "I proved to myself, and to him, that I am who I choose to be." Jake kissed her forehead, his heart swelling with emotion. "And you've shown us all what courage really means. You've chosen us, and that's all that matters." Days turned into weeks, and life began to settle into a rhythm again. Samuel Harper, though persistent, began to recognize that his daughter's resolve could not be bent. He made fewer attempts to intervene, and gradually, the small household of Jake, Rachel, Emma, and Lily flourished. The twins thrived under Rachel's guidance, learning not just academics, but resilience, empathy, and integrity from both parental figures. Jake and Rachel's relationship deepened, blossoming into love grounded in shared trials and triumphs. They discovered joy in small, ordinary moments: bike rides through the neighborhood, cooking meals together, bedtime stories, and rainy day movie marathons. And through it all, they knew that no matter what challenges came from the world outside, the bond they had forged was unbreakable. Yet, as they celebrated a quiet evening together, Rachel received a message that hinted at new trials, a business emergency involving her father's company, a reminder that the world she had tried to leave behind was never truly gone. She looked at Jake, concern flickering in her eyes. "We'll face it together," Jake said simply, squeezing her hand. And in that moment, Rachel knew that no matter what storms awaited, they had found something stronger than wealth, power, or expectation. A family built on love, courage, and choice. The story of Jake and Rachel, and the small family they nurtured, was far from ordinary. It was a tale of resilience, defiance, and the extraordinary power of ordinary life. And though the future held uncertainties, they faced it with hearts intertwined, proving that sometimes the most remarkable love stories unfold not in skyscrapers or boardrooms, but in the quiet, chaotic beauty of a home filled with laughter, warmth, and unwavering devotion. The days following the gala brought a fragile sense of peace, but Jake knew better than to trust in calm for long. Samuel Harper was a man who never relented, and even if he respected Rachel's resolve, he could not tolerate what he considered a slight: his daughter choosing a life outside his meticulously curated empire. It began subtly. Rachel received urgent calls from board members, asking for her signature on critical contracts. Each call carried a dual weight: a request for cooperation, and an unspoken expectation that she would comply with her father's will. She tried to deflect, but the pressure mounted. One afternoon, Jake came home to find Rachel at the kitchen table, documents strewn around her, her forehead creased with worry. "I can't do it all, Jake," she said, her voice tight. "He's trying to pull me back in. And the company, it's huge. I can't just walk away without consequences." Jake pulled a chair beside her and took her hand. "Rachel, look at me. You're not walking into this alone. Whatever comes, we face it together. The girls and I, we're your anchor." Her eyes filled with tears. "I know, but sometimes I wonder if I can truly protect them from all of this. He's relentless." Jake squeezed her hand, determined. "Then let's meet him on his own terms. But this time, we don't back down. Not for money, not for power, not for fear. The next morning, an unexpected visitor arrived at their home. A sleek black car pulled up, and out stepped a man in a dark suit. Impeccably polished shoes, reflecting the morning Sunday, he carried himself with a confident, predatory grace, clearly handpicked by Samuel Harper himself. "I'm Victor Rains," he announced smoothly, handing Rachel a thick folder. "My father asked me to ensure you understand the gravity of your choices. He trusts you will make the right decision, for him." Rachel swallowed hard. "I've made my decision. I'm staying with my family." Victor's lips curved into a sharp smile. "I admire your conviction, but my father respects power. And he believes the right choice is the one that aligns with his vision. There are consequences to defiance, Miss Harper." Jake stepped forward, his voice low but unwavering. "Let me be clear. There are no threats that will scare us. We don't negotiate with intimidation. You came here, you can leave. That's it." Victor's eyes flicked to the twins, who peeked out from behind Rachel. For the first time, Jake noticed the subtle tension in Victor's posture. He had expected to face compliance or fear, but instead found a family unit that radiated unity and courage. After a tense silence, Victor closed the folder and nodded. "Very well. Consider this a warning. My father watches closely. He will test every boundary. I hope you have the strength to endure." As he left, Rachel collapsed into Jake's arms. "I can't believe how far he'll go," she whispered. "I feel trapped between love and obligation." Jake held her tightly. "Then let's make a promise right now. No matter what comes, we protect each other and the girls. Samuel Harper cannot touch that. Nothing can." That evening, Jake devised a plan to strengthen their family's resilience. He created a schedule for the twins, balancing school, play, and creative activities to keep their minds occupied. Rachel joined him, teaching the girls piano lessons and reading stories that emphasized courage and empathy. The home buzzed with energy, laughter echoing in every corner, yet the world outside remained relentless. Samuel Harper initiated a public campaign, praising Rachel's professional achievements, while subtly implying that her choices outside the company were immature. Media outlets began questioning her commitment to her career, creating whispers of doubt in her social circle. Rachel struggled with each headline, feeling the weight of expectation pressing on her shoulders. One night, she confided in Jake over a quiet dinner. "I thought I could ignore it, but they're twisting my words, making it seem like I'm failing," she admitted, tears brimming. Jake reached across the table. "Ignore them. The only truth that matters is here, at this table. Emma and Lily see the real you. I see the real you. And we love you for it. The rest is noise." Rachel looked at him, drawing strength from his unwavering gaze. "You make it sound so simple," she murmured, a small laugh escaping her lips despite the tension. "Because it is," Jake said firmly. "Family isn't complicated. Love isn't complicated. We just stick together." The following weeks brought another challenge, this time directly testing Jake's resolve. Samuel Harper invited him to a private negotiation at the company headquarters, under the guise of discussing investment opportunities. Jake knew it was a trap, an attempt to intimidate him and assert dominance. Dressed in his most professional attire, Jake arrived at the sleek skyscraper, feeling the weight of the city's gaze pressing in from all sides. Inside, Samuel Harper awaited, seated at the head of a long conference table, a faint smile playing on his lips. "Mr. Thompson," Samuel began, voice smooth and commanding. "I've observed your relationship with my daughter. Admirable, but naive. You care for her, yes. But do you truly understand the world she comes from?" Jake stood firm. "I understand enough to know that she's not yours to control. She's chosen her family, and I respect her choices. If you cannot, that is your failing, not hers." Samuel's smile widened, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Very well. Then consider this a test. You will face challenges designed to measure your commitment, judgment, and strength. Pass them, and perhaps you'll earn a place in her world. Fail, and, well, you know the consequences." Jake's jaw tightened. I don't need to earn a place in her world. I already belong here with her and the girls. That's all the validation I need. The tension in the room crackled like electricity. Samuel Harper had met many opponents in his life, but Jake's unwavering stance stirred something unexpected respect, perhaps, or at least recognition that this man could not be easily bent. Back at home, Rachel waited anxiously. The twins, sensing the tension in the adults, asked endless questions about Daddy Jake's big test. Rachel held their hands, smiling softly. He's brave, she said, just like all of us. And no matter what happens, we'll face it together. Emma and Lily nodded solemnly, understanding the weight of the words in a childlike way. Their small hands gripped Rachel's fingers tightly, a silent pledge of unity. That night, as Jake returned home, Rachel ran to meet him. How did it go? She asked, heart pounding. Jake smiled, exhaustion etched on his face. It went exactly as I hoped. He knows I won't back down, and he'll be testing us more. But that's fine, because we're ready. All of us. Rachel hugged him tightly. I love you, she whispered. And I love you, Jake replied, kissing her forehead. And the girls. In that moment, a sense of peace washed over them. Not the peace of a life free from challenge, but the peace of a family fortified by trust, courage, and unwavering devotion. Weeks passed, and the tension in the air seemed almost tangible. Samuel Harper had escalated his subtle pressures into more direct confrontations, sending high-powered lawyers and corporate strategists to shadow Rachel, hoping to sway her back into the family empire. Yet, every attempt met the same unwavering response. Rachel and Jake were committed to their family, to the girls, and to the life they were building together. Then, one rainy evening, the ultimate challenge arrived. A limousine pulled up outside their home, sleek and intimidating. From it emerged Samuel Harper himself, dressed impeccably, rain droplets sliding off his polished shoulders. The twins peeked nervously from behind Rachel, sensing the gravity of the moment. I believe it's time for us to speak face to face, Samuel said, his voice cold but measured. No intermediaries. No distractions. Just us. Jake stepped forward, shielding the girls subtly. We're listening, he said firmly, though his heart pounded in his chest. Samuel's eyes flicked to the twins. Your daughters are remarkable, Rachel. That much is clear. But do you know what it takes to thrive in the world I've built? To survive without fear? To command respect at every turn? Rachel squared her shoulders. I don't need to thrive in your world. I need to protect my family. And I don't need fear to guide me. I need love, courage, and integrity. For a moment, Samuel seemed struck, as if her words pierced through the armor he had constructed over decades of power and control. You're naive, he said softly. Perhaps that is why I respect you more than I should. He motioned for them to sit, and for the first time, the confrontation took the shape of a conversation rather than a battle. I have watched you, Jake, Samuel continued, his voice carrying an unusual weight. You've protected my daughter. You've cared for her and my grandchildren with a dedication I did not expect. Most men would have faltered under this scrutiny. Yet you remain steadfast. Jake met his gaze steadily. I didn't do it for approval. I did it because it's right. Because family is worth everything. Samuel leaned back, the tension in his posture easing slightly. Then, perhaps, I underestimated the strength of bonds that cannot be measured in contracts or wealth. Rachel held her breath, sensing the rare vulnerability in her father. The twins peeked curiously from behind her, unsure what this change in atmosphere meant. You've earned a choice, Samuel said finally, his voice softer than ever before. You can walk away from the empire without consequences. Or, if you wish, you may take a role, not because I demand it, but because you might choose it freely. Rachel shook her head gently. We choose our own path, Father. And our path is here, with Jake and the girls. We love each other. That is our world. Samuel's eyes glimmered, a mixture of admiration and something almost like relief. Then I will respect your choice. I see now that power means nothing without integrity. And perhaps You've taught me something I had long forgotten." For the first time, Jake allowed himself a small smile, relief flooding through him. The tension that had gripped their lives for months began to lift, replaced by the warmth of mutual understanding and respect. Over the next few days, Samuel Harper visited less frequently, and when he did, it was not as an oppressor, but as a grandfather wanting to build a genuine connection with his grandchildren. He began to see the twins not as heirs to an empire but as bright, curious, and fearless children who embodied the strength of family above all else. Rachel, Jake, Emma, and Lily flourished under this newfound balance. The twins thrived at school, their laughter filling the home with light. Rachel continued her personal projects, building a life that balanced creativity, responsibility, and joy. Jake supported her at every step, and together they navigated the world's challenges with resilience and love. Then came a quiet afternoon, the sun spilling golden light into their living room. Samuel Harper entered unannounced, carrying a small box. He handed it to Rachel. "For you," he said simply. "No strings attached. No expectations. Just acknowledgement of your choices." Rachel opened the box to find a delicate necklace, a subtle symbol of respect and recognition, not wealth or power. She looked up at him, tears glistening. "Thank you," she whispered, "for seeing us for who we are." Samuel nodded, a rare smile softening his stern features. "You've shown me that legacy isn't just what you build, it's what you protect, nurture, and love. Never forget that." Jake took Rachel's hand, and together they looked at the twins, who ran around the room laughing, innocent and free. The storm of the past months had passed, leaving a calm that was earned, not given. And in that calm, they found a truth that no empire could ever offer: the unshakable strength of a family bound by love, courage, and unwavering faith in each other. It was a beginning, not just an ending. A life forged not in power, fear, or obligation, but in choice, unity, and the quiet, enduring magic of belonging.